Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel and the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel. And we continue our foray into the Impact Wrestling world for February 17th, 2022. Opening video recapping Josh Alexander's suspension after he complained to Scott D'Amore he won a title rematch. This is after the BTI segment with Eddie Edwards defeating Big Con, aka Connor of the Ascension. He also wants a title rematch. Also, last week's No DQ main event, where Morrissey beat Brian Myers, only to get jumped by Moose from behind. Also, Moose opens the show with official contract signing for the No Surrender Impact World Championship match. Moose said that he isn't expecting Morrissey to make it to No Surrender after what he did last week. D'Amore said that while Morrissey wasn't there today, he'd still have 2 days to recover and sign the contract. Morrissey, Moose signs the contract and then gets jumped from behind and also makes references to losing to Josh Alexander. Moose walked to the back. Morrissey comes out and takes out Moose by choke slamming him off the stage. Morrissey then signs the contract and the match is official. Gia Miller interviews Bullet Club about the six-man tag team match tonight. Why are we having six matches just for the sake of filling time? Chris Bay addresses the match at No Surrender, where he'll become the X Division #1 contender, Gods of Destiny. Talk about the tag team titles and White taking on Eric Young. White cuts a promo where he's willing to accept Eric Young as a young boy if he really wants to be in the Bullet Club. Also said tonight he gives Violent by Design a taste of what the Bullet Club is all about. Masha Samovich defeats Kai and Dream. Obviously a squash for Slamovich. Dream gets a few strikes in, but breaks her own. Masha Slamovich breaks the own pin attempt to hit the Russian Death Device and get a pin. Ace Austin with Madman Fulton defeats Blake Christian and Laredo Kid. Qualifier for the X Division match at No Surrender and for a shot at Trey Miguel at a later date. Match starts with Austin taking out, letting Kid and Blake have a decent enough opening exchange. Austin goes out to the floor. Kid goes out to the floor. And then Blake Christian manages to hit a foot stomp on Austin, but does not dive on him when Fulton blocks him and protects Austin from the dive. We go to commercial. We come back. Blake and Kid pair up until Austin drags Blake to the floor, manages to control the ring, keeping Kid down and Blake outside. Austin then gets a few near falls. Kid eventually recovers, dropping Austin with a scoop slam and a bottom rope twisting moonsault for his trouble. Blake then comes back with a handspring kick on Kid and a German on Austin, and a split leg moonsault on Kid for near fall. Blake then follows up with a diving moonsault into a double reverse DDT on the floor. Blake then tries to follow with a top rope move on Austin, but Fulton pulls Austin out of the ring only to get taken out by a suicide dive on both Austin and Fulton. Blake then turns his attention on Kid, but takes out a Rana instead. Kid followed up with a frog splash for a 2 count. Austin kicked Kid, but Blake gets him with a running Spanish fly for a near fall. Blake and Austin exchange strikes on the top rope. Then Blake gets an upper hand, hits a 450 foot stomp on Kid, but Austin jumps with the fold out of nowhere and pins Blake to advance. To No Surrender promo from Decay. Rosemary said that she's tired of Jonah calling himself a monster. When there's Crazy Steve then said the match is just research for what Black Tourist gets his hands on at No Surrender. Backstage, Caleb approaches the inspiration, thanking them about and taking photos, and then taking them out last week. Praises them for the quality of the photos, and then things are being wasted on the influence. Jalise Shaw defeats Lady Frost. Shaw makes her debut last week after Frost's BTI match. Retention of the intention. Frost takes the opportunity for Shaw's first match. Match starts with a little bit of back and forth. Frost out wrestles Shaw thanks to athleticism. Gets a near fall. Shaw catches Frost with a spinning kick to the back of the neck, and then reverse draping DDT for near fall herself. Shaw manages to dodge some strikes and land a forearm followed with a running knee, only with a 2 count. Frost comes back with a temperature drop moonsault, but Shaw kicks out. Frost then chases a second one, but Shaw cuts her off and dropped her with a top rope Spanish fly, but Frost kicks out. Shaw then hits corkscrew Vader bomb for the win. But then Miller interviews I don't know more about their match at No Surrender. She brings up people accusing them for taking out Gresham last week. Taven denies any allegations. Miller interviews Deanna Purrazzo and says she's going to continue offering open challenges going forward. Purrazzo said that yes, the next will be at No Surrender because Mickie James is champion. She needs to be double champ. Chris Sabin with Team Impact defeats Kenny King with I don't know more. Final of the build-up matches between these two teams facing off in No Surrender. Honor No More is fighting for a chance to stay on Impact. Match starts with both men teasing each other. King gets a upper hand for a minute, celebrates with his team, but doesn't stay there long. Taven is on the outside of the ring, and King is quick to cut him off. King works over Sabin's head using speed advantage to keep Sabin down. Sabin and King do a few spots. Both men end up hitting clotheslines on each other and double down, and then Sabin lands a big tornado DDT for near fall. Sabin chases Cradle Shock, but King escapes and hits a spine buster. Tries to follow up with a Torito. Sabin dodges that. Crossbody getting reversed into a near fall. King hits a Tiger Driver for near fall, then goes for the Royal Flush. Sabin escapes into a roll up and gets the win. After the match, Maria cuts a promo. When things happen at No Surrender, there'll be more a cohesive unit than Team Impact. She brings up McLean, who isn't even out there with them, and likely that it was him that took out Gresham last week. Maria is a tremendous talent on the microphone, and it's worth going out of the way to see her deal. Backstage, Team Impact reunites after debating about McLean until he walks off and says that it's all Maria's got mind games, and McLean makes a case for himself. Team Impact would have to go to find another partner. Everyone agrees at the end. Sasha Steeles and Savannah Evans defeats Mickie James and Chelsea Green. Steeles and James have been feuding for a while. Evans and Green start the match with speed versus power exchange. Green is able to use Evans' size against herself. Evans then overpowers James and cuts her off. Steeles then tags in and goes back and forth with James for a couple of minutes before Green tags in again. Also managed to keep Steeles down until Green is distracted herself with Evans after dealing with both women. Evans finally cuts her off by tossing her off the top rope. Steeles and Evans worked over Green with a double team. Green then attempts roll-ups but can't keep Steeles down. For the count, Steeles and Evans do a nice enough job of keeping James out of action. James gets the hot tag, takes down Evans with a bunch of drop kicks. James then hits Mick DT on Evans, but Steeles gets her with a crucifix pin, getting the win. Steeles pins the champion. We get a final chapter in the Myers Learning Tree saga. He berates both members of the team and then walks out on them. Hannafin and Reinhold run down the card for No Surrender. Bullet Club, Jay White, and Tamatonga and Tangaloa defeat Violent by Design, Eric Young, Joe Doring, and Diener. This match doesn't need to be here, but it's just, 6-man for the sake of 6-man, and really not exactly a strong go-home show for a pay-per-view or a network per-view or an Impact Plus per-view. Violent by Design does manage to help the Good Brothers in the past, so I guess the story makes sense. It just feels convoluted and long and extra. White and Young start the match going in back and forth with strikes and chops until White catches Young with a backdrop. Got the Destiny tag in, double teaming Diener, but when Doring comes out and easily overpowers him, the Bullet Club is eventually managed to go there. Then they speed number 11 Bullet Club to clear the ring. referee gets things under control. Dorian cuts off Tangaloa. Violet by Design works him over with constant tags, but eventually Tangaloa manages to get off Dorian's shoulders. Dorian and Loa have a hoss exchange. They end up taking each other out. Young tags in, former getting the upper hand. White sets up Blade Runner, but Dorian makes a save. Gorillas jump in and hit the Magic Killer on Dorian and Diener, but Young blocks the ladder. White then goes for Blade Runner on Diener, but then gets cut off by Young with the right hand and top rope elbow for near fall. Young goes for the pot over, but White escapes. They tease the signature moves, but White gets the upper hand. Diener tags in, only to take a 3D and some planches and pin. Hands of White, and the Good Brothers come out and stare down with the Bullet Club as we close the show. Honestly, a weak show. Honestly, it's content for the sake of content, at least for me, and it is what it is as far as things go there. We will continue right after this.